In November 1969, NASA deliberately sent part of the Apollo 12 lunar module crashing into the surface of the moon. The impact was detected by a seismometer that the astronauts had left behind. Scientists expected vibrations, but what happened next was extraordinary. The signals remained strong for more than half an hour. Weaker vibrations continued for close to an hour. The moon, according to one description that would become famous, appeared to ring like a bell. But bells are hollow. So, what exactly were the astronauts standing on? Was the moon simply behaving like a dry, geologically inactive world? Or had NASA accidentally struck the exterior of something artificial, something enormous, something hollow? For almost all of human history, the moon has been a source of wonder. Ancient cultures used it to track time. Civilizations built myths around it. Modern science sent machines, and eventually people, to investigate it. Today, the accepted scientific view is that the moon is a natural rocky body that formed billions of years ago, most likely after a massive collision involving the early Earth. But an alternative idea proposes something far stranger. The hollow moon theory suggests that the moon contains enormous empty spaces beneath its surface. The most extreme version goes even further. It claims the moon is not a natural world at all, but an artificial structure, perhaps a colossal spacecraft built by an unknown extraterrestrial civilization. There is no accepted scientific evidence proving this idea. Nevertheless, a collection of strange observations has allowed the theory to survive for decades. And its modern story begins during the space race. In 1970, Soviet writers Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov published an article asking whether the moon could be the creation of alien intelligence. Their proposal became known as the spaceship moon theory. They speculated that an advanced civilization might have hollowed out a planetary body, reinforced its exterior, and moved it into orbit around Earth. In this scenario, the moon's rocky surface would act as camouflage and protection. Underneath it might be machinery, living areas, observation systems, or technology beyond human understanding. It is a dramatic idea. But it began as speculation, not as the conclusion of a scientific investigation. Over time, however, supporters connected the theory to several genuine lunar mysteries. The most famous involved the way seismic waves moved through the moon. During the Apollo program, astronauts installed seismometers on the lunar surface. These instruments detected moonquakes, meteorite strikes, and vibrations created by controlled impacts. After Apollo 12's astronauts returned to their command module, the ascent stage of their lunar module was deliberately sent into the moon. NASA reported that strong seismic signals continued for more than 30 minutes, while weaker signals lasted close to an hour. Later Apollo missions also spent rocket stages and spacecraft components into the lunar surface, so scientists could measure the resulting waves. To hollow moon believers, the conclusion seemed obvious. The moon vibrated for so long because it was hollow, just as a bell or metal shell resonates after being struck. But the phrase "rung like a bell" was a description of the seismic behavior. It did not mean that astronauts heard a metallic ringing sound traveling through space. Sound cannot travel through the vacuum surrounding the moon. The ringing was recorded as vibrations inside the lunar ground, and scientists have another explanation for why those vibrations lasted so long. Unlike Earth, the moon is extremely dry and has little active geology. Earth's fractured, water-rich crust absorbs and scatters seismic energy relatively quickly. The moon's cold, rigid, and dry rocks can transmit that energy for much longer. Countless impact fractures also scatter the waves repeatedly, producing a long seismic tail known as a coda. Lunar seismic events can therefore continue for an hour or more without requiring a planet-sized empty chamber. Another argument involves density. The Moon's average density is approximately 3 grams per cubic centimeter, while Earth's average density is around 5.5. Supporters argue that the difference could indicate a hollow interior, but density depends on composition. Earth contains a proportionally much larger iron-rich core. The Moon is dominated by lighter silicate rock and has a much smaller metallic core. A lower average density is therefore expected. More importantly, a truly hollow moon would behave differently under gravity. Its orbit, rotation, moment of inertia, and gravitational field all provide information about how mass is distributed inside it. Spacecraft have also mapped subtle changes in lunar gravity. These measurements reveal areas with extra underground mass, including dense structures beneath major impact basins. Together with seismic readings, these observations point toward a layered rocky body, not a thin artificial shell surrounding an enormous empty space. Scientists describe the Moon as having 3 main layers: a crust, a mantle, and a core. Evidence suggests the core includes solid and partially molten regions. Supporters of the theory also point to the Moon's craters. Some claim that even extremely wide craters appear surprisingly shallow. According to the theory, incoming objects may strike a reinforced shell hidden beneath the surface, preventing them from penetrating farther. At first, this seems intriguing. But crater depth is not determined only by the initial hole produced during impact. A large impact releases an enormous amount of energy. Rock melts, fractures, and flows. The crater walls collapse inward, while material beneath the center can rebound upward. Over billions of years, lava has also flooded some enormous impact basins, creating the dark lunar plains known as Maria. The visible depth of a crater today is therefore not a simple measurement of how far an object originally penetrated. There is also no confirmed worldwide layer of artificial armor beneath the lunar surface. The patterns seen in lunar craters can be explained through impact physics and geology. Then there is the Moon's place in our sky. The Sun is roughly 400 times wider than the Moon, but it is also roughly 400 times farther away. Because of this apparent size coincidence, the Moon can almost perfectly cover the Sun during a total solar eclipse. To some hollow moon supporters, this alignment appears too precise to be accidental. They suggest that the Moon may have been deliberately positioned. It is certainly a remarkable coincidence, but it is not perfectly fixed. The Moon follows an elliptical orbit, so its apparent size changes. During some eclipses, it is too far from Earth to cover the entire Sun, producing a bright ring known as an annular eclipse. The Moon is also slowly moving away from Earth. That means total solar eclipses did not always look exactly as they do today, and they will not continue forever. We happen to live during a period when the apparent sizes of the Sun and Moon can closely match. Extraordinary, but not evidence of engineering. Imagine for a moment that the strongest version of the theory were true. Constructing or modifying an object the size of the Moon would require technology on a nearly unimaginable scale. The Moon has a diameter of about 3,475 kilometers and a mass of approximately 73 sextillion kilograms. Moving it into its present orbit would demand an extraordinary amount of energy. The structure would also need to survive billions of years of meteorite impacts, intense temperature changes, and gravitational stress. It would have to imitate the mass distribution, geology, chemistry, and seismic properties of a natural rocky world. Samples returned by Apollo astronauts would either need to be authentic, natural rock placed on the exterior, or perfect artificial imitations. and an advanced civilization capable of doing all of this would somehow have left no clear machinery, manufactured material, radio signal, exhaust system, or unmistakable entrance visible to the many spacecraft that have mapped the moon. That does not make the concept logically impossible, but it creates an enormous burden of proof. A theory this extraordinary requires evidence stronger than unusual vibrations and coincidences. So far, that evidence has not appeared. The hollow moon theory survives because it combines real scientific mysteries with one of humanity's oldest questions. Are we alone? The Apollo missions truly did record lunar vibrations that lasted far longer than typical earthquakes. The moon genuinely has characteristics that can seem strange when taken out of context, but strange does not automatically mean artificial. Long-lasting moonquakes can be explained by the moon's dry, fractured, and rigid geology. Its lower density can be explained by its composition and relatively small iron core. Its craters follow known impact processes, and multiple forms of measurement reveal a differentiated interior containing a crust, mantle, and core. The most responsible conclusion is that the moon is not a hollow alien spacecraft, at least not according to the evidence we currently possess. Still, the theory raises a fascinating thought. For thousands of years, humans could only look up and wonder what the moon was. We have now walked across its surface, collected its rocks, and measured the vibrations beneath our feet. Yet our understanding of its deepest interior still depends heavily on instruments deployed during the Apollo era. Future lunar seismic networks may reveal details we have never seen before. They probably will not uncover an alien megastructure. But as the history of science repeatedly demonstrates, the truth can be surprising enough without the need to invent it. What do you believe? Is the hollow moon theory simply a misunderstanding of lunar geology, or is there something beneath the moon's surface that we have yet to discover? The moon may not be hollow, but the questions surrounding it are far from empty. What do you think lies beneath the lunar surface? Leave your theory in the comments. Subscribe to Static in the Dark for more strange signals, hidden histories, and mysteries waiting beyond the light. Until next time, keep listening.